welcome back to Just Ranked. We are the four gentlemen that you're used to seeing. I'm your host, Manitoba Dink, and of course you know Illinois Jimmy, Ontario Chris, and Minnesota Joe. Yes, we're all sporting AC/DC shirts. Well, not Joe, but whatever. It happens. And for you listeners, you can't see what we're wearing anyway, so we might be nude.
I'm wearing nothing.
Jimmy's always mostly wearing nothing. Anyway, if I stayed in the past, you can find us in all the places. If you're watching us right now, you know we're on YouTube. But you can find us on all the audio streamers. Or if you're unsure, you can always go to justrankpod.com and find all the links to everywhere we are, all the socials, in Chris's bedroom. Jazz hands. Anyway,
that's clapping in sign language.
It is, right?
Yeah. I won't ask for the tush push, but you can give us a like, give us a subscribe. Feel free to comment. Feel free to comment on any one of our shows. We will comment back. We will engage. We are not the people that will ignore your comment. One of us will attend to that business.
I'm very attentive.
You certainly are.
Probably.
Okay, so on that note, I haven't even stated what this episode is about. So let's get it up, shake a leg, and get hot for tonight's show. Come hell or high water, this episode we are talking about none other than
Wham.
AC/DC.
AC/DC. Shit, wrong note.
I didn't say what we're wearing, so I guess I gave it away, yes. As a host, I will just say I love this band.
What?
It is my favorite band of all time. For me, anyone that knows me, quote Joe, I love Australian artists. So I don't know if that comes into play or if it's just that I love pure rock and these guys are rockers, right? Everyone in my circle or everyone that I know loves this band except for my wife. So I married her, even though I had some reservations, I married her anyway. She's the only one I know that doesn't like AC/DC. Like,
You know this is being recorded, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm probably going to regret saying that, but shit happens, right? She will openly admit, no, can you not play that? I'm like, can we not play that? Triple negative. Anyway, normally I would just if I wasn't being creepy, I would just ramble here and hand it off. But I'm gonna I'm gonna pull a Jimmy here and give a little bit of AC/DC history, if you will. Or
Please do. Please do.
It's all stuff that we know, but maybe the listeners don't know per se. Of course, the band was formed by brothers Angus and Malcolm Young in Sydney in 1973. Chris and I also came along in 1973, so good shit came out in 1973.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. After some various band changes, they were kind of really settled in with the Young brothers, Mark Evans, Phil Rudd on the Skins, and Bon Scott as the singer. And I say settled in, that only lasted a couple of years and a couple of great albums in the 70s, and Mark Evans left. Enter Cliff Williams as the bass player, and that kind of solidified the lineup, or you would think, right? I say solidified.
For a while.
That was a couple more years, a couple more excellent albums, and then tragedy struck the band when their singer died. Now, you guys know as musicians, it's tough to go on with a band when you lose a member unless he's just a dick and leaves. When your singer dies, that's pretty tough, right? Or I would think it's pretty tough. But they soldiered on. They replaced Bon with Brian Johnson, who was recommended, or Bon had said Brian Johnson was a great singer. I don't know if he ever planned on dying or leaving the band, but he had mentioned him in the past. So Brian came in, replaced Bon, and then you thought, let's see what happens with the band. Then they released arguably one of the biggest albums of all time with Back in Black, right? And then they really soldiered on with their sound for many years to come. Like I said, I love this band. I won't ramble too much about all the history after that because there is some drumming changes there with with Phil leaving and Simon Wright and Chris Slade coming in. I'm sure Jimmy's going to touch on that as our resident drummer. And of course, sorry, there goes one note. And of course, even Phil left. Phil came back. Brian left because of ear problems, and we won't talk about how he was replaced with Axl Rose because that
left or got booted.
Well, that's open for debate, much like our last episode, Yacht Rock. But yeah, over the course of all that time, 17 studio albums, over 200 million albums sold worldwide, making them top 10 in artists of all time for albums sold. 83 million albums sold in the U.S. alone. Of course, members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, AC/DC, we salute you. I won't ramble anymore. I will pass it off. Joe, you can start with your list. I assume we'll have a few samesies despite the massive catalog because some of their songs are so iconic, but maybe not. I have a couple of ones I don't think anyone will have, but let's just see how this rolls out. Fucking love AC/DC. Let's get her going. Let's shake us all right to your foundations.
I'm really interested to see how many samesies we have because for me, my top 4, especially I think 3 of them, I don't think anybody's going to have for sure. If we do, I'll be very impressed because I don't swing either way. It's not a David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar type of thing. I finished the sentence.
Too easy.
Good call.
So I don't swing Bon Scott or Brian Johnson. I think I tend to like Bon Scott more than Brian Johnson, but Brian Johnson's amazing. I've heard my brother's met him a few times. He's apparently an amazing guy. Everything you've heard about him is
everything. Same thing. Super nice guy, right down to earth.
He had a great, I think on Axis, he had his own show too. It was great. He'd interview people. He just seems off a very wonderful person. But people forget, I think, how quickly they replaced Bon Scott. Bon Scott died February 1980. Brian Johnson joined March 1980.
Sorry, I got to interrupt you, Joe. I am having a good laugh as we talk about AC/DC. Favorite Yacht Rock songs is Scrolling Across the Bottom.
Oh, shit. Who's directing this episode?
We do not record multiple episodes a night. We don't.
No, we don't.
Oh, my Lord. I'm fighting.
Like fucking AC/DC. Oh, that's gold. We can clip that, or maybe we'll just leave it in for this.
No, we're just leaving it. We don't fucking.
We try not to edit anything out, people.
If you look, even if you watch 1987 back in 1987, a couple of weeks ago, that show in any way was not edited.
Especially towards the end.
Right.
Especially
the emotional parts.
There was no crying involved, no matter what you might have heard on the rumors.
There's no crying and just
no crying and
there's no crying and ranking.
But seriously, they moved on days after. Now again, they knew Brian Johnson. They were friends with him, but they went right back into production for Back in Black right away after. And people deal with grief differently, so I've never ripped on them because sometimes people just need to move on because that's the only way they can deal with grief. I get it. It's not like they were like, throwing Bon Scott to the ways and just moving on. I don't think that was
they were probably, like you said, they were doing the best they could.
They've always been a band, especially at that time, who was record album and tour for years on end. Album tour for years. I mean, that's what they did. So I think that's all you know. That's what you resort to when you're in grieving, right? But anyhow, so I'll be surprised if anybody has this song. I mean, one of those songs. I mean, I was an AC/DC fan. But the radio hits. And then I had a buddy of mine who was like, you thought I was bad in Prince. Like, this guy was even worth AC/DC. A huge AC/DC fan. And so I got to really learn AC/DC because as much as he had to listen to Prince, I had to listen to AC/DC. And this is one of those songs that I didn't really, I heard it, but not really listened to before. But my number 4 is Ain't No Fun Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire.
Wow.
Dirty D's Done Dirt Cheap. Again, it's a Bon Scott song. The one thing about AC/DC is everyone says all their songs sound the same. No, they have a sound. And Malcolm never gets the full due. Malcolm could always write the simplest 3-chord structure song, and it would be a fucking rocker, man. We're talking 3 power chords, and that fucker could just rock that motherfucker like no one else, and then move on to the next song and do the same exact formula. It would sound different, but have the same sound.
Right.
Malcolm Young wrote most of the music for the AC/DC, and he's a fucking rock genius. You know, we talked about
arguments there. In fact, I had the loss of Malcolm in my notes, but when Jimmy ripped up his notes, I got sidetracked and totally.
Sorry.
He's the backbone of the band, right? Like everyone gives the singers credit, and the change in singers are Angus's, schoolboy skip across the stage and his great guitar, but Malcolm is the backbone of that band.
Yeah,
it was until he passed, right? But you're right. He wrote so much. He was so involved in their sound. And yeah, you can say it sounds the same. Whatever. It's all awesome.
Yeah. And I say I'm a riff rock guy, which means I like a good riff you can remember in your head, and either was a radio hit or an album track, every one of AC/DC's songs is a riff rock song. You can remember that guitar line.
They're just about rock and roll. They never really took themselves too seriously. They just were out to have fun and play music and be rock and roll, right?
Yeah, let's just rock. Right. And so how do you not like that? Like,
exactly.
Let's all just rock. Like,
and a lot of Bon Scott's early lyrics were really like, "Hey, I'm just waiting around to be a millionaire because he's still a millionaire. I've sold how many millions of copies of album? I'm not a millionaire. I'm just sitting there waiting around to be a millionaire."
Right.
And that's pretty much what the song's about. But I've always loved this song. It's again, it's quintessential. It's again, Dirty Dig Thunder Jeep. Again, there's not an album I don't think by them, especially Bon Scott, that there's not one song I don't like by them.
Agreed.
Which is hard for any band or any act, whether it's pop, rock, country.
They're probably a band that I listen to more of their albums all the way through than any of the other bands, and they have a shit ton of fucking music to go through.
Right. But you're right. They're one of those ones where you throw it on, you don't take it up, you don't turn it off. Just keep it going. It's
amazing too that the fact that when they did move on from Bon Scott to Brian Johnson, they found somebody who didn't sound like Bon Scott, but fit the band very well with the same kind of gravelly voice.
Yeah, fit the sound of the band. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fit the personality of the band. Again, they're to have fun. They're there for the music. I mean, I think that's why this song has always been important to me when it comes to AC/DC's plethora of great riff rock songs. It's because it was one of those early deep tracks when I was introduced. It's like, okay, this song is okay. I get this now. I get it.
Great.
My number 3 is. I didn't intend this on purpose. I guess it's not a Dave versus Sammy thing. This is my only Brian Johnson song. Is Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution.
Down.
I being a guitarist, I sometimes revert back to saying songs I love playing. Again, another simple song I love playing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's just again. Even when they're singing, it sounds like they're just sitting down in a bar, and just how they talk with lead into a song. They're just kind of relaxed. It's like, hey, here's that's
a great description of that song.
Kind of like a bluesy,
just
like
bluesy.
Bar,
hey, what do you guys think of this?
Smoky bar, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's exactly the scene I see when I listen to this song. Is them literally sitting on stools. They're like, okay, we got this song, and they're just gonna sit back. Everyone's smoking, they're drinking, have a couple beers, and they're just back to this fucking bluesy rock song. And like, here we go. Dan, dan, dan. It's like, it just the chord structure and everything very simple. Again, though, it's a song that doesn't use power chords for AC/DC, which is it's. They always get ripped off for using power chords and being simple. This song is put together expertly. I mean, this song is quintessential AC/DC. My favorite track off of Back in Black. I had to put in my top 4.
With that song, how it opens up, and he's just kind of talking, and you were talking about the smoke-filled room. To me, when I hear that song, I think about how a lot of the bands that were in, I can't talk. I don't know what it is. a lot of the bands that I was in, how songs were written just like that. A guitar player maybe noodling, doing something, and then somebody like myself comes in with gives it a tempo, and then another guitar player, if you have two, comes in with something else to fill it in. And that's how the basis of a lot of songs are written. Just kind of noodling, screwed around, the singer talking on the microphone, maybe about whatever this or that.
Yeah.
And so when I hear that, I literally think of how I was in bands, and that's how we wrote songs.
Yeah.
Right. And did you go back afterwards? Okay, what did you do there? Remember that. Let's do that again. And
Well,
could you repeat it?
honestly, most of the bands that I was in recorded all recording sessions. So
Yeah,
we had tape.
Yeah, that's smart because it would have been one of those situations if you didn't. What did we play last night? What was that? That was
Yeah.
good.
Well, again, though, and I took it, like Jimmy said, we went from tape, and then when my bands we started getting a little bit bigger and we had money, we had two mics always in our practice space. We recorded mini disc, so we're recording mini disc, and then we're recording the ADAT, and then that's a form of it's a tape recorder. There's multiple tracks, but I'm reminded what Paul McCartney said in the Disney 8-hour miniseries they had. Was he's like, when we wrote a song, I had to remember it the next day. I had to remember because I had no way to record it.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, right? Like,
I can't imagine how many songs people just forgot that were really good because they just in a drunken stupor or just forgot.
I don't remember what we did
They
last
had to
night.
get some sleep, and they remembered next day. They don't remember a damn thing.
No.
Yeah. This isn't the greatest song. It's just a tribute because you can't remember it.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, this song is. I think I love the fact it just seems really laid back. It just seems like that. Those guys sitting down having fun and doing their thing, which I imagine at the time was pretty intense. Because like I said, their lead singer just left, and then Brian's got to make his mark, right? And it just seems very laid back and very unintrusive. So that's my number 3.
I don't have it in my notes. I know they had some stuff in the works before Bond died. I don't believe this song was one of those songs.
It wasn't. No, it was not.
Right. So because this, and I love this song, and we might hear it again, so we might already have our first samesies. This is very much a Bond song, more than Brian, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, they went with the style. I mean, I don't know how much musically creative process Brian was given on Back in Black.
I don't think that much. As the
guy, right? I mean, other than the vocality,
right.
And some of that might have even been transferred to him. Okay, Bond would have done this. Right. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Whiskey, and then I'll do it.
I got that.
Yeah, and hearing all those interviews with Brian, he'd be the first guy to go, okay, I'll do that. He wouldn't. There's no ego there. Again, we talked about in previous shows being amazing musicians or artists and just having no ego and just being the guy who's there who does his thing and has no ego about it.
Well, especially as a new guy coming in right after a death, and you don't want to step on any toes. What do you want me to do, guys? I'll sing whatever. Like, I'm sure it was probably very strange.
Yeah, considering the thing he did right before that was a vacuum cleaner commercial.
It was a commercial, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so we made it halfway through my list, and I haven't said anything about Prince. So last episode, if you listened or watched the Yacht Rock episode, I didn't say the P word at all, not one time.
That's why I was doing this before every single pick.
Is that why you're counting down? Oh, shit.
But I do have a Prince tie in this. So way back when I was learning how to become a musician, I got together with 4 high school buddies, and our drummer was Chuck Hunsberry, and Chuck Hunsberry's dad was Chick Hunsberry, who was the big giant bodyguard you saw in Purple Rain and throughout Prince's career at the time. That was Chuck, or that was Chick, and Chick was the nicest, sweetest man he'd ever meet, and his wife was a little demure lady. She was amazing too. But Chuck was like, my dad's mad at me because Phil blah blah is giving me lessons and I don't want to do it. I'm like, and the Phil he's talking about is Phil Rudd.
Get out.
Because Chick Huntsberry was before he was a bodyguard for Prince, he was a bodyguard for AC/DC. And so he was still friends.
Can you show my son how to play?
That's exactly what it was. And so Chuck was annoyed the fact that he had to go to drum lessons because Phil was going to
Phil Rudd.
Phil Rudd with Phil fucking. By the way, our band's name, we were a very bad punk band, but we had a great name. Satanic Beethoven.
Yep, I remember.
Nice.
So that's my little Prince tie-in. But my number 2 is, I don't know, somebody else has this song. Kudos to you. It's off of Highway to Hell. Again, Bon Scott. It's Nightcrawler.
Oh, wow.
And here's
when you're done with your notes, I have a great note on that.
Wonderful. Because going into my list, I think especially with these big lists that we're all excited about, or of course a big band we're all very familiar with, you go, these are going to be probably my 4 songs. My top 2 songs were not in any way I thought were going to be my top 2 songs because again, there was of everything I listened to, sometimes things just fall off the wayside, right? When I revisited every album again, going through the whole thing, including newer stuff with Brian, with say the Razor's Edge and stuff like that, I forgot about how good that stuff is. I was like, God damn, this is a really great song, man. It really showcases Bond's vocal, I'm going to say prowess, but to how he sings. And I'll say prowess because he didn't have a big giant range, but how he sang his vocals and just the slinkiness. And there is that word again, the slinkiness of the music itself. It was my favorite song off of Highway to Hell, which is Nightcrawler. Go ahead.
Well, before Jimmy gives his notes, that is, to me, it's kind of funny, and it's not that I dislike it because I love all AC/DC, but I thought when I was doing my list, and you know, it's lame to say, but it was already locked in. I thought when I looked at my list, I'm like, nah, there's no way I'm bumping any of these up. These are my songs. They've always been my songs. I wonder if anyone's going to have Night Prowler or Ride on their list, because those for me, and it's no slight to you, Joe, are, and maybe because they aren't rocking, but you're right, it does show his singing ability. But I think for me, they've always been lesser songs because they're slower. Because when I listen to that band, I want to be pumped up, right? I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that.
No, I get that. And Ride On, and it's interesting you brought Ride On because Ride On's a favorite song of mine of theirs too. It's probably in my top.
I'm the
10,
ballad guy, so like it doesn't make any fucking sense. So,
but the funny thing is, like you're right. They're known for their rocking stuff, right? And so
right.
For me, for these 2 songs, as number one song, you guys are gonna pick either. I was surprising me because they weren't.
Right on.
And so when I went through I kept on going back to these songs, going, God, I forgot. I used to listen to these 2 songs all the time, and they were amazing songs because I really love the deep cuts off of the number 1 album track, that album, and this album, Highway to Hell. I really love every song off these 2 albums.
Oh, good pull. Jimmy, what do you got?
All right, so my note on that is AC/DC got screwed over roundabout because of this song, because there was a serial killer, Richard Ramirez,
Nightcrawler, yeah.
the Night Stalker.
Night Stalker, Night Stalker, yeah.
Stalker, right.
The media took and said that he was wearing an AC/DC t-shirt and an AC/DC hat and was listening to Night Prowler.
Yeah.
And they threw this out there during the Fly on the Wall press, which was years afterwards,
yeah.
And it screwed them over for the Fly on the Wall. And because that was 85. Crazy that a serial killer would screw over. And on top of it, the media, that was during the whole Bible burning or album burning phase, Tipper Gore stuff. Right. And they tried saying that AC/DC stood for Antichrist Devil Child.
Yeah.
What a farce.
Just like this was Knights in Satan's Service.
Right.
Satan's gonna take you, boys. Yeah.
That list that Tipper Gore had with Twisted Sister and Priest and stuff is hilarious to me.
The funny thing is, whenever I think of that Tipper Gore or Tipper Horror shit, whatever the fucking name is, the PMRC.
The PMRC.
Those days.
Parental Music Research Center.
Yes, exactly. I remember that was going on, and my dad. I mean, my parents were very, I guess, use the word very progressive at the time when that wasn't a word.
Absolutely.
But my dad goes, well, that's funny. And my dad never spoke much about, popular stuff. I'm like, why? He goes, and I remember this to this day. He goes, well, back when I was young, big band music was considered the devil's music.
Right.
I was like, it's always something.
And Elvis was considered satanic. And
the Beatles. Yep.
No, we haven't gone that far. A couple of years
video
ago,
games, and then the fucking
banning "Baby It's Cold Outside." Like,
how about they're just assholes? That's what they do. That's why.
Right. When I think of Tipper Gore, I'll bring a little rap. If you're going to bring Prince in, I'm going to bring a little rap in. Everlast, before he was in House of Pain and then again went solo as Everlast, had a single rap album as a white rapper, right? And he's got a song called Fuck Everyone. And in the second verse, he says, I got Tipper Gore protesting my lyrics. Fuck that bitch. I don't need a clearance to rock my rhymes. Speak my mind. You can't censor me. The public's not blind. It's every time I hear Tipper Gore, I think of Everlast.
Right?
That's hilarious. Everlast is a really cool dude. Way back in the day, he used to be a IT director for an advertising agency here in Minneapolis, and he did a private show at our agency, and he was the nicest guy.
Yeah, I heard he's a really kind guy.
Yeah, he was really nice.
The first time I heard of Tipper Gore, the PMRC was Wasp, Blackie
Lawless.
He did that that live album.
Like a beast.
When he did, and then right before he did Harder Faster, and if you know the lyrics to Harder Faster, right. He's like, this is the Tipper Gore and the PMRC.
Yeah. Well, he did have a song late crotch.
Also, the last song on Warrant Cherry Pie was the Ballad of Tipper, or Ode to Tipper Gore.
Yeah, Ode to Tipper Gore.
Just saying the word fuck live for 3.5 minutes.
She got it everywhere, right?
And then don't forget the best ode to Tipper Gore, Anthrax is Starting Up a Posse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was...
I'm starting up a posse.
Right, everybody couldn't stand that.
Suck a dick. Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. I love Anthrax.
Anyway, sorry. We got off on a tangent there.
Yeah, sorry. Talking about... Anyhow.
As we tend to do.
Fuck censorship. Anyhow. So that's my number 2. My number 1. No one's going to have this on their list. It's my number 1. It's off of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Again, Bon Scott.
Boy.
Touch Too Much.
Oh, I love this song.
So do I. It's so fucking good. I'm telling you. Go back. Listen to this fucking entire album. It's a great album. But go back to this song. Dude, it's just like kind of, again, laid back, kind of driving. It's so fucking good, man. It's so unlike anything else, a lot of AC/DC stuff. And whoever came up with that very simple riff with the freaking flange and just the down, it's just it sounds so good, dude. Interesting thing is, if you try to play the song on guitar or bass, it's actually a quarter step out of tune.
Really?
So if you try to play it while your guitar's in tune, it sounds awful because, well, if you play with the song, it sounds not right because actually they're quarter step
not right. Sounds not right.
And actually, there's a lot of early Van Halen stuff too that aren't quite. I mean, a lot of bands in that time they just tune to ear and they just go and record. They wouldn't tune to an actual tuner. And AC/DC was, guilty of a few of that. And I won't say guilty because that's wrong, because the song sounds great as is. But if you want to play on guitar or bass, you got to tune down on a quarter step. Again, the song, just because it sounds nothing else like AC/DC, especially did that time. And then again, them just being chill and it's kind of like, God, I fucking love this song.
Well, speaking to you're talking about the tuning, they have a kind of a formulaic way of writing. They basically use 4 proper chords, a Mixolydian progression, which is an A, E, a G, and a B. Those are all chords where you can be a little out.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. Especially when you go up the fretboard. Yep.
And a drummer just dropped the mic.
Drummer.
Hey guys, what do you call somebody who hangs out with a bunch of musicians?
Right.
A drummer.
Well done.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Right.
Guitarists are the worst. I only said that because Dink has this amazing memory of remember just pulling shit out of the air, and then Jimmy drops.
Oh, I
the
just
fucking
pulled
mic
something out of the air, and I didn't even bring it up. I didn't even correct you.
Oh, why exactly right? Like
Much too much is on Highway
and
to Hell,
Jimmy's
not
got the
on Dirty Deeds.
mathematical stuff because again, guitarists we just play things. We don't
I
really
had to
think
put
of
my
it.
glasses on. Check. I'm like, I think he's got the wrong album, but I'm not going to correct him.
He's never corrected me.
No. Well, maybe on Yacht Rock we did.
Wait, hold on. I think you're wrong.
Hold on, excuse me.
Hold on 2 seconds. Oh, I also admit when I'm wrong too. I
Yeah.
fucked that up pretty good, guys.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Real quick, my honorable mentions. I'm gonna pull a Dink here. I've got like 5. Right On. We mentioned it already. Razor's Edge. I forgot how good that fucking song is. Again, going through the catalog, you forget shit. Money Talks, which I thought I didn't really like. I'm like Money Talks. That was a period I really kind of tuned out. Really good fucking song.
Yep.
Love It First Feel. Again, not the heaviest song,
But great
fucking
tune,
song.
right? You can't go wrong.
and a song that almost made my top 4. That when I think of it, I think of AC/DC. It's Have a Drink on Me. It's quintessentially.
Love that song.
So
I
many
wish I
good
had
songs.
whiskey, gin, and brandy right now.
So many good songs. Anyhow, that's my list. I'm done.
Nice.
That was a great list. And you're.
I am
with this
now
band,
singing
you're
"Have a
allowed-
Drink on Me" in my head.
You're allowed.
Yeah, me too.
no
Me too.
shit.
Absolutely.
You're allowed many honorable mentions with this band because every song is good.
I'm telling you, man. Great catalog, man. Great catalog. Seriously.
Well, Joe, just so you know, you have 0 samesies.
Well, so far, okay. So far, I have 0 samesies. Samesies, yes, you're right. I have 0 so far.
Man.
Who's
So it
next?
sounds
I don't know.
Chris, it sounds like it's you, brother.
Oh, sweet.
Why do they always lump the 2 bald guys together? I don't know. Why is that?
It's a hairy decision.
Right? It's a shine.
It's
It's a shine. I'm trying to cover my shine. Why do we always wear hats on the same shows?
sometimes hat, sometimes not hat.
Sometimes not a hat. Yeah, kind of a. I don't know if you can have a basic list, but I don't know. I felt it was kind of basic. My number 4 is For Those About to Rock.
Oh,
We salute you.
Right.
Yeah.
The album itself was their first number 1 album. It was number 1 for 3 weeks. The song itself was number 13 in the US, number 15 in the UK. I didn't actually look at Canada, but whatever. Nobody cares about Canada. I love the song. I love the it's got a stop and start kind of hook to it, especially when it gets to the gun firing part, which is amazing.
Great,
It was always great live. It's amazing live.
Amazing live. And I love their live albums too.
Yep.
I love their live shit. One of those bands that too, you beat it. I don't know. Like I grew up in redneck Ontario, if you call it that, or cottage country, but you go to somebody's house party in the wintertime on a Friday or Saturday night in high school, and guaranteed you're probably listening to an AC/DC album at some point during the night.
Sounds like Litchfield.
If not 2 of them. Yeah. The fact that I've gotten to know Minnesota, it seems like it's a little bit the same.
Very much the same.
It
right?
sounds a lot like major
Minnesota
parts of
is southern
Ontario.
Canada.
Right.
We're Canada's ball sack.
You are right. You're hanging down there.
Well, especially once you get up close. Like I went up to Chrissy one time when I went up to Two Harbors. You're like south of like Thunder Bay at that point. It's like the same like atmosphere, same kind of landscape,
it's
right?
Canada, right?
Like same small towns and villages. Anyways, that's my number 4.
Great pick, man. Great song.
Great
Again,
pick,
can't go
great
wrong with
intro.
it, man.
Like such a solid intro. Like just an iconic song by them. Like,
and when you think of like live songs, again, it's one of those songs when you hear live is just even better. It's ginormous live. They got the cannons going off. It's amazing.
Right. And again, when I hear the song in my head, I'm visioning the video, watching on Much Music with the cannons.
Yep. And a really solid, and in their catalog, and this is just my opinion because I do love them. Not their greatest album front to back, but a solid follow-up to Back in Black. You know,
Back
to
in Black
prove
was
it-
so big. How do you
prove
come
that
back?
it wasn't just everybody loved it
and
because
that's the
Brian
thing,
knew
Back in
and
Black
Bond
was
died.
amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a good follow.
I have two notes to follow what Chris and Joe said. That was the first time in the history of live shows that a live cannon was ever used during a concert.
Dude, they're
And
so
to what
loud. They're so loud.
and to what you just said, Dink, a solid follow-up to Back in Black. Back in Black is one of 9 albums to have more than 20 million copies sold. The follow-up was considered a disappointment at 7 million
7
copies.
million.
I know.
Disappointment, right?
So
Maybe
in
because
the
that
United
one was
States,
so
if you
big. Like, fuck.
Well, in the United States, if you sell 10 million copies, it goes diamond. We have gold, you have platinum, then you have
Right,
diamond.
right.
Very few albums have gone diamond. So it went double diamond. I mean, people always say, you know, a lot of Back in Black songs they never want to hear again because they've heard it ad nauseum, right?
Yeah.
But it went double diamond in the United States, and the next follow-up album still sells 7 million copies, and it's a disappointment. It's imagine that.
7 times platinum, and it was a disappointment.
Isn't that
Unreal.
fucking insane?
Jesus Christ.
Unreal.
Everyone's sitting in your bar up here, you know.
Right.
How many bands would die to just have it go
Right.
gold?
Yeah, one
Have it go
million.
gold.
Have a hit, much less sell fucking 20 million copies.
I don't
7
know the answer. I don't know the answer, but how many albums has Taylor Swift gone 7 million?
I don't know the answer either, but
It's a curiosity. I'm trying to use a relative term.
right.
One of the biggest selling artists of current time, Taylor Swift, does she have that 7 million mark? Does she have she obviously doesn't have the 20 million mark. Only 9 bands have ever done it, or 9 artists.
Right now, she's sold 114 million copies
Combined.
Total?
Right.
total. Yeah, so far. I'm trying to find. I'll get back to you when it comes to.
And she's
like,
got a
actual-
shit. She's got a shit ton of stuff. Like, she's got a big catalog herself. So has any one of them reached 7? Maybe.
Ooh.
Now,
Yes,
that's not to be disparaging of Taylor. She's a
No,
talented artist.
I'm totally with you. Like, it's,
Yeah.
it's
Try to use it as a watermark.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
From what I can tell, she has one album, oh my god, never mind. 1, 2, 3. She has 3 albums that sold over 7 million copies.
okay.
Okay.
So there you go.
2 that were sold over 10 million.
Now, were any of those albums a disappointment?
Right.
Well, yeah, right.
Right.
That was my whole point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
no,
totally. That's
yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
7
Um,
million copies, man.
So my number 3 is when you guys were talking about it, I kind of didn't say anything, but it's Right On.
Oh, nice.
It's a great song, man.
I love
Why
that
go wrong,
song.
right? I
And
thought
it's
those
funny-
2 songs, and there you go.
You were saying, Joe, about like it's one of those band like they could be a bar band and be doing it, but I was thinking Right On's like reminds me of like being at a house party and the bunch of guys from the high school
Yep.
riffing this little fucking bluesy kind of
Right.
slow tune grinding. I don't know. I just love the vibe to it. I love to chill out to it. I know, like Dink said, you usually want to get pumped up to. That's why we listen to it before hockey games. That's why we listen to it before any sporting event usually, right? So like
I think
Thunderstruck
maybe
is the
there's, like-
mainstay going out to warm-ups.
I think that's why those songs stick out to me, like Touch Too Much and Night Prowler and Right On, because they were anti what they normally did. And so when
Right.
they did, they were kind of more
Mhm.
special because, like, 95% of our catalog is this, and then they have these few songs are like this. And when they did those few slow songs, they were really fucking good.
Yeah.
Did
tell you,
any of
Chris,
you guys?
Go
Do,
ahead, Jim.
do any of you guys remember the scene in Maximum Overdrive that song played?
Yes,
Say that.
The truck started going slow and building up, going around the gas station. Like,
Yeah.
wow, it was actually kind of powerful for, a 1985 movie. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it's a great scene.
This is why I love this fucking show. You let a guy talk that you wanted to interrupt, and he says the exact same thing. I was just going to say it was that movie that made me, and I knew the song, but like I said, for me it was a lesser because I wanted to get rocked out. But when that movie came out, all of a sudden I liked Ride On even more. I was like, oh yeah, like they can do anything.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I like about song 2 is like when they start to build up, you're like, oh, they're gonna get heavy, and they get Right on. They go right.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
go right-
yeah,
we're gonna go back down here. We just
yeah.
teased you. Like we're gonna. No,
I'm
we're
sure
gonna-
Malcolm was laughing the whole time.
I'm sure.
Watch this, guys.
Oh,
Right.
they're gonna get heavy. I know they're gonna get heavy. Oh no, let's go back down. Here.
Or he was high out of his mind.
Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Good pull. Good pull.
Great song, man.
I love that song.
Number 2 is Jailbreak.
Again, you're not gonna name a song where I'm gonna like, oh, that sucks. Jailbreak.
Yeah, I know, right? How can you not love that? Originally released in Australia in 76, but not in North America and Japan until 84.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't on the first international release of whatever the album I'm thinking about right now. Was it Jailbreak? Was the album? What was the
So
album?
Jailbreak was a live
74
album, was it?
That was a live album. Yeah.
74?
Yeah, 74 Jailbreak.
Yeah.
It was 74 Jailbreak when it came out in 84, but the original album's High Voltage, right? It wasn't on High Voltage.
Yeah, it was on high voltage. You're right. Yep.
But it came out with 74 Jailbreak, and they had like some covers on there too, right? Like "Babe, Please Don't Go" and a couple of others.
They originally did the video for a music television show or music show in Australia called Countdown, and that's where the video came from.
Right.
Yeah.
And that got heavy play, Chris, as you remember on Power Hour.
Oh yeah. And it was like one of the first real theatrical ones I remember. Like, I don't remember a lot of videos having like explosions and gunshots and the thing getting shot in the back in it, right? Like
sirens, rifles.
Take it back. I'm sorry. Jailbreak was from Dirty Deeds.
But it wasn't on the international release of Dirty Deeds, was it?
No, it was not. You're correct.
No, neither was touched.
Until October 1984.
Right. What'd you say? What'd you say?
Dig rides on.
He's no longer sending after show notes. It's all during show. He doesn't fuck around either.
I don't fuck around. It's nice later. I don't fuck around.
It's a nice letter. I don't fuck around. All right. And my number 1 is Shoot to Thrill.
Love it.
Love it.
I love that album. And that's, I don't know, that song, it's one of those, like we were talking about, pump up songs. I can listen to it before I go to a sporting event. If I'm driving in the car, I have to watch myself because I'm going to start to speed.
It's a good driving song for sure.
It's a very good driving song.
You can really, you can play it to like race car montage if you want or something, right? Like, yeah.
And it was the perfect song for Iron Man.
Yeah, it got a real good reboot from that. But to the original story, I don't know, when I was doing the research, it's about when had read a story. Sorry, I'm reading this about street dealers in London in these suburbs making rounds like milkmen to bored housewives that would get high and then go to the pubs and have extramarital affairs on their husbands.
That's what it's about?
That's what it's about.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Me neither. Yeah. But that's according to, well, now take your sources, Wikipedia. But but that's what it was said.
I would trust that is too way out there to totally make up and not have enough fans to say, no. I'll correct this, because you can make changes on Wikipedia.
I call bullshit.
Maybe. But the other cool thing, apparently the guitar solo is inspired by the gun battle from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, I read that too.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Fuck. Awesome.
It's kind of cool when you have like, just a simple thing like a solo that is inspired by a specific movie. You have no idea, but then when you hear it, it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to watch that movie now.
Yeah, no shit. That song's got a really
I
cool
watch that movie
intro,
once a year. I love that movie.
Now, when you watch that movie and listen to that solo, is it like watching, a Wizard of Oz and listening to Dark Side of the Moon?
I will tell you, because I didn't know that until I did the research for this song. I did that today. So
nice.
So
no, and I will say it when I get to my picks, but You know, I love their intros. That song has got a and then the
Yeah.
riff, like it's really, really
Well, and there's no slow build to
creative
that
and
one.
cool.
It's right in your face right away.
Right in your face, right?
Yep, right away. Right out of the gate.
So I could have like the entire fucking Back in Black album as my honorable mention, but I got a couple of honorable mentions. Squealer, I really like the song
It's a
Squealer.
good song, man.
Whole Lot of Rosie, I love Whole
Whole lot
Lot
of
of Rosie.
Rosie, baby.
Whole lot of rose.
Shake a Leg and Sink the Pink.
Awesome and
Ah, yeah.
awesome.
I am so glad you got a Fly in the Wall song on there.
I love
I love that album so much. I play it I play that album more than any other AC/DC album.
Really?
Really?
And
Really?
it
I
got
find it- wow.
shit on, it got panned.
I love it. I like it.
I love that album probably because it got shit on because
Yeah, it
my
doesn't
wife
get
calls
the
me
love
a
it should. Yeah.
my wife calls me a contrarian, so I guess I go to that
Kind of
shit,
are.
you know.
Kind of are. Yeah. Kind of are.
So
I will say with Shoot to Thrill, a couple of quick notes. Hailstorms cover's really cool
Yep.
Yeah.
because
It is. Yeah.
Lizzie's awesome.
They do a great job covering a lot of
A
shit.
little hometown thing here, like sorry.
It's always Dink killing Jimmy's notes.
Much like many ball players that have a theme song when they come out. I don't know if all teams do this, but because I go to so many Jets games, they all have a song when they score, right? So Kyle Connors is Hell Yeah by Rev Theory, and I think that's probably an ode.
Oh wow, I haven't heard that song in a long time.
Yeah, he's from Michigan. It might be an ode to Red Wings when he was a kid because that was their theme song. I don't know. I'm guessing. Sadly, one of the guys, his song is Macarena. So we're all like, we want to hear Macarena. I'm like, no, we don't.
What?
But we want Gabe to score. But Shifley's song is Shoot to Thrill. So when Shifley scores, and he potted 39 this year or 38.
Yeah,
So
he had a
there was
great
a-
year this year, man.
There was a bunch of Shoot to Thrills, right? So I'm always down with that. Like you see it much more in baseball when guys like Crazy Train or whatever his theme song is when he walks to the plate, right? You're like, whatever. Yeah.
We can't think of a better goal song than Shoot to Thrill. Come on, baby.
Right.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty good. But yeah, all your honorable mentions were great, man. And I'm kind of with Jimmy with the Fly on the Wall. It is underappreciated, and I have another album on with a song from it on my list that I will talk about the underappreciation of that album too. They've got a couple.
It might be our age group because that album came out when I was starting to listen to them more, and they had some play on Much Music. I'm sure
big
MTV.
time with Danger and yeah,
Don't the strangers.
Danger, and yeah, First Blood, yeah, like I know, Shake Your Foundations, yeah, like
Yeah.
My thing going to this is really like, what is the newest song someone's going to actually have in their top 4?
I don't have a song
recent song.
past 90.
That's
I love Thunderstruck, but it wasn't even and that album. But none of that was even.
I
yeah,
don't
me
have a
too.
song
I think
past
Raising Dead was a great album, and I revisited the album. I forgot how good that was, and it didn't make my top 4.
It's so great.
Also, they had a couple of good live albums I'd forgotten about.
Yeah,
All
I saw
right,
them
Jimmy.
4 times live, and they're just fucking.
All right.
Sadly, I haven't seen them live once. It is
What?
just depressing. I know.
Oh,
It's like me. One of my favorite bands being Alice in Chains. Never saw them live.
Same thing, right? They're
Oh,
top
really?
5. I haven't seen them either. Fucking Priest is in the top 10. Never saw Priest. It's like, okay, at least I saw an Excess a few times, and they're right up there. But it's depressing shit, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, like how many more Chris Stapleton concerts can you go to? I like him, but
right.
anyway,
He doesn't have a disappointing 7 million sales.
no, he does not.
So, all right. 2 things. First of all, I want to give you double points for the show for mentioning the Macarena. I would have given you quadruple had you said tacos putting on the Ritz. But you
I got it in
only
another
get
show, I think.
2 points. You only get double points.
I'll take
You
2
only
skins.
get
It's better than
200
4 skins.
points in any episode. Come on, man.
Right. AC/DC, I had the luxury of seeing them 3, possibly a 4. every time I talk about a concert, someone corrects me. No, that was actually Los Lobos, not AC/DC.
Right.
So I believe I've seen them 3 times.
Damn you, those Lobos are so heavy.
So I mean, I have a bunch of random notes. I already talked about the chord progression. Throw that away. I already talked about the 9 other artists that have had the 20 million. I want to state that this band has 18 fucking studio albums, and they are just beloved across the world.
Yeah.
They've had loss, they've had drug addictions that have messed up their albums. They've had the gambit of everything, and they've maintained, like you were talking about, Dink. They just moved on, and they played the same AEGB chord progression on the next album. And previous episodes we talked about, it is the only band to maintain their sound and have the same record 18 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have not
Nope.
changed exactly what they are. They are what they were in 1976.
Right. Yeah. Everyone has every other band has changed or progressed or whatever. And on top of it, they have never had a greatest hits album. The closest thing is Who Made Who, but that was a movie soundtrack and not a greatest hits.
It was, but everyone counts it as a greatest hits.
Right.
I mean,
But it wasn't technically greatest hits.
I get
So
it.
they've had
I love that movie.
Oh, so good.
They've had 57 singles. They've had 52 music videos. I mean, they're pretty they're pretty beloved. So I mean, with that, I'll start with my number 4, and thankfully it has not been said. Highway to Hell. If You Want Blood, You Got It.
Good song.
That is all of these songs, because I have 5 songs here I'm going to talk about. All of these songs literally could be interchanged. They really could. I tried to listen to them and think, okay, no, I could put this. No, they're all number 1 in my mind for this band. So this is number 1D.
You bring out the letters. I like your style.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's off the brain. That Litchfield fucking education. Got it. I knew my first 4 alphabets. That's awesome.
If you're a listener to the show, you have to appreciate the fact that our rules are very pliable and they change from show to show.
Yeah.
Much like Yacht Rock. Go back and listen.
You're talking about rules?
Rules.
Rules.
I wonder if
Playoffs.
there's anyone listening going, I love these guys. They couldn't follow a fucking script if they tried. They
No.
can't even get their intros.
You can't even handle the
Yeah.
opening or ending
Scroll, right.
script.
Marco knows that sent me the script. I've never seen a script.
Right? You wrote
Exactly.
the script.
Like I said, somebody watches and goes, they can't even get the scroll right. It says Yacht Rock. I thought they were talking about easy.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Wait,
That's-
Macarena.
Marco, this is the AC/DC.
But, I mean, okay, going back to my pick. If you want blood, you got it. I really only have a couple notes. My biggest favorite notes is the chorus: blood on the streets, blood on the rocks, blood in the gutter, every last drop. If you want blood, you got it. It's not profound,
No,
But it's awesome.
It kind of is.
but it's so rock and roll that it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
My other note is the producer on this, Eddie Kramer, who has worked with Hendrix, The Stones, Bowie, Zeppelin, Clapton, Kiss, Santana, Whitesnake, Anthrax. He's worked with everyone. He said that he's never seen a band work harder to write the songs for an album. He would leave and 15 hours come back and they'd still be writing songs or working on songs.
I believe it.
Awesome.
So, and that's from a producer that worked with all of those bands, said he's never seen a band work harder.
Hacks. They were all hacks.
Right. They were going to write another disappointing 7 million selling album.
But again, it tells you right there, though, and I said this before in previous shows, and this is just me as a very small musician. I think it's harder in some ways to write a simple song and they are the quintessential simple song,
Mhm.
in quotes
They're the
band.
kings of simple.
But it's hard to write that three chord hook. It really is,
Well, I
man.
mean, there's a reason it's hard because it's so simple. There's nothing straying, so everything is the focal point. So you
Exactly.
have to be rock on
There's no waste.
everything if you're writing something simple.
There's zero waste. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's no room for error.
And no excess. You're right. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And if you listen to their songs, literally is no waste.
There's no fat.
There's no fat, right?
There's no fat.
No one's showing off. It says, here's a fucking song. And
Right.
it's gonna fucking blow your fucking head off.
I had a ribeye earlier, and it was filled with fat. Like,
So that was not an AC/DC grade steak.
no, it was more of a whatever. It was
Whatever. All right, I'll move on to number 3.
it was grizzly.
Oh,
Nice.
more of a Falco.
Sure, it was
Oh,
yeah. Bringing out Falco. That steak was rocking
Nice.
me on the dance for sure.
I love how you think, Dark Commissar.
Don't turn around. Fuck.
Right, 99 loop balloons to you. All right, so
We're ready for our 80s top 40 show.
Right. yeah, all right. So number three is in that category of ride on, simple, kind of mellow, and it's from For Those About to Rock, which is a lesser album, which I love absolutely. 7 million copies. The Disappointment follow up to Back in Black, Brian Johnson. Mutt Lange, his third album with them. So Mutt Lange again in our conversation. It's the first AC/DC album to hit #1 on the charts.
Which makes sense because Back in Black was so big, it was gigantic that obviously when this next album would be released, it would be automatic and people like, we can't wait for the next album, right? So it makes sense.
Yep. And the song is Let's Get It Up.
Let's get it up. I knew it was gonna be let's
When you said
Bang, bang, bang.
And it's just one of these.
Yep. It's a head bopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And I love it. I love the feel. I love the vibe. I love the mood. You notice I haven't said beautiful yet. It is beautiful.
It is fucking beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
So I actually will challenge anyone listening to this show or watching this show. Pick these slower head bopper songs, these AC/DC songs. If you like to smoke a joint or do a
Gateway drug.
Oh,
Gateway.
sit down, smoke a joint, and listen to these 10 songs that aren't like fucking flat out rockers. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, right on. Let's get it up. Those are the gateway drugs for AC/DC. Absolutely. So I mean those are my notes for that. So anything, anybody want to add anything? Because I was talking quick.
No,
when
I
it comes
actually,
to let's get it up, like loose lips sink ships. So I'm not gonna say much more.
oh, what does that mean?
It's from the song.
Looks like Chris wants to say something.
Loose
No.
lips.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay because you usually come close when you're gonna.
All right,
Get
we're gonna
that.
take some.
I was
So all right. So my number 2 is actually, in my opinion, the deepest dive yet. It's from another fledgling album, Flick of the Switch.
Oh, nice.
I love this song because the riff is completely a Zeppelin style Physical Graffiti guitar riff, and it's deep in the hole.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Oh, I can listen to the song over and over and over and over. This is, you talked about Phil Rudd, the exodus of musicians. Phil Rudd was forced to leave the band at this time. Malcolm Young was battling hard drug and alcohol addiction, and Flick of the Switch was a real hard album for them to even complete. But this song, in my opinion, is the star of this album. It's amazing. Love this song.
Yeah, Flick and Switch is one of those albums where I think we're starting to get into areas where they kind of get hit or miss, or I won't say you miss. I'll be like, It's just like nothing memorable.
I will quote you in Stone Temple Pilots and say, wrong.
And you could be. And again, with this band, there's no right or wrong, right? And
No, there's no right or wrong.
With music, generally, there's no right or wrong. I'm just saying,
Right.
this is one of those albums for me. It's really memorable or not memorable. I won't say forgettable because that's rude.
It's a gray area. The album's a gray area.
Thank you for being able to speak Joe, because yes, it's a gray area.
I know exactly.
You speak better Joe than I do.
I'm gonna give it some love pretty soon, but we'll see.
33 years of friendship. You learn to read the gray areas.
Oh yeah, Chris has been thinking dinkies for a while.
What?
So I guess the last note on this album, 2 notes, I'm sorry, the last 2 notes is Malcolm was pissed off at the art rendering of the album because he wanted AC/DC to be raised up, embossed, I believe, like Back in Black was. And they said, no, we're not going to put any money into this album because there's no hits on this album. So they went dry stock on everything. And, they quoted, we're going to go dry art with your dry sound.
Ooh. And here's the one thing that sucks about the music industry, especially back then. He had a bunch of fucking suit-wearing motherfuckers.
No shit. Here's a cheap stencil.
They had no fucking clue what the fuck was going on.
Yep.
And it's funny you brought the art, because my buddy, who is the AC/DC freak, used to redraw this album cover all the time.
Yeah.
Perfect. It would look exactly like the cover. I'm like, dude, that's the fucking.
It's actually a cool album cover.
It's a very cool album cover. I think it's great.
I got
and actually, it probably comes off better that it's dry. It's not embossed. There's not much to it. It's just the pencil drawing of it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this show. Like, that track is like, man. It's playing in my head right now. I don't need music, right?
And you can hear Zeppelin in that when you're hearing it, right?
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So my number 1, it's a basic bitch, but it's one of the greatest basic bitches that has ever basic bitching.
I thought a basic bitch. Holy shit.
What?
Yeah. And it's Long Way to the Top.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. You cannot go wrong with a metal song that has bagpipes and a muddy sound.
You're right. Yes.
And if you've ever seen the video, they're on a flatbed in wherever, Ireland, Australia, wherever the fuck they are. There's a big cardboard sign that says, tonight only, AC/DC, come for free. You can't go. I mean, basic bitch of all basic bitchdom. Love it.
Such a great song. And you can see that video on a million reels. And we know from running our socials, copyright is a problem. I've seen that video normal and reversed. Like, people have got away, they reversed it. And like, everyone's playing backwards. And that's how they got away with it. And the whole song's on a reel, right? I'm like, I'll watch this reverse. What?
Wait, you mean Angus isn't a freaking left-handed guitarist?
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know, there's just the story of it, how hard it is. The streets are tough and mean. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Right. It's not a glamorous ride. It's not a fucking, any of that. And it's just fucking cool, and the end justifies the means. It's fucking cool. I love that song.
Great pull.
Great
song.
pull. Yeah. That's
all right.
So basic bitch. It's a safe basic bitch. It's a great pull.
Yeah. And okay, so I have 2 honorable mentions. One is Shoot to Thrill. We've already talked about that. It's just I don't know. It's a powerful song. It's cool. It hits all the right notes internally for me. Love it. And the album itself is amazing. Love it. The last one, I'm gonna coattail on Fly on the Wall, the song Fly on the Wall.
Nice. Wow.
I love this song. I don't know. It gets shit on so bad, and the video is so cheesy with the cartoon fly flying around.
Right,
What
like,
video
And,
in the 80s wasn't cheesy at that time? Gee,
Well,
give me a
yeah,
break.
I was just gonna say.
yeah, that was probably top dollar. But
Fine,
it,
what?
it probably was. I mean,
how much that fly cost us?
right. We've all seen RoboCop. That was top dollar.
The fly made an appearance in the Sink the Pink video too.
Yes.
and it's in the Danger video, I think, too, right?
Yes. Yes. And all three of those videos were filmed at the same set, the saloon. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's my list. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Like some of the other ones I had to do it, like I said, grueling in another episode. Some episodes are grueling. Like you guys talked with Yacht Rock. It was not fun for some of us. That was grueling. This one was just a joy because I got to listen to fucking AC/DC. I did not listen to all 18 albums. I listened to probably 9. And I just did something weird with my hands I never want to do again. Right.
Ta, 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 ta.
Yeah, exactly. I am the best, and I am going to do this to change everything. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I listened to everything up to Ball Breaker just because not an album I wasn't very familiar with. And then I did some spot stuff with Black Ice and even Power Up with it, which was our last album.
I went to Heat Seeker.
Okay. So again, a lot of that, there's not a lot of I mean, it's still AC/DC, but nothing that I really hook on to, But when we first started the show, what is this? I don't know, 17, 18 episodes ago, earlier in January 2025, we had mentioned a bunch of bands we were going to do. And I'm like, okay. And when somebody mentioned, I think it was Dink and mentioned AC/DC, I'm like, ooh, I got this. It was literally the first list I had done like right away. Like I had done. And then we went back and we're like, okay, we're going to do AC/DC for sure. I went back and listed, and my list had completely changed because again, I thought I had my 4. I'm like, oh, these are the 4 songs I play on guitar all the time. It's easy. These are the songs I love playing on guitar. I'll fucking crank up my studio, blah, blah, blah. And no, they all changed.
Well, like Chris says quite often, talk to me in 6 months.
Yeah.
Probably.
Very much so with this band.
Oh, would you guys like to know the 9 artists that have the 20 million plus?
Sure. Def Leppard and
Can I guess some?
Yeah, I have. Well, sure, if you want to guess, I have them all written here.
Okay.
Dink doesn't want to know. Dink wants to know if he's right.
Are we talking 20 million US or 20 million worldwide? Because it's
the
big.
Beatles.
I believe it's US for the certification.
So
Beatles.
No.
Eagles.
Yes. What number?
4 or 5.
Nope. 2.
7, 2. Wow. MJ.
Michael Jackson.
The number for the Eagles' greatest hits is 29 million.
20 million. Yeah. And then Michael Jackson.
MJ.
Yeah.
Thriller at 33 million, number 1.
And for the longest time, greatest hits and Thriller were going back and forth, and then kind of Thriller has kind of like gone on.
This is individual albums or just band? The
Individual albums.
Def Leppard.
Nope.
Appetite for Destruction.
Nope.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
I'm pretty sure.
The Wall is number 5 at 23 million.
Shit nuts. This is harder than I thought.
But when you hear them, you're like, fuck, I knew that.
I knew that. Exactly. Jagged Little Pill's not on that, is it?
I take that back. I guess Hysteria only sold a measly 12 million copies.
Yep. Don't you guys Google this shit.
No.
I'm Googling. No, I just Googled that one because I was like, I guess
Chris has got something.
No, is it a band or a solo artist?
Both.
Oh.
All right, to save dead space, number 9 is Shania Twain.
I
didn't write the album down. I didn't write the album name down, but it's Shania Twain at 20 million.
She's only got
Bob Rock again.
Come on over, Woman and Me. It's probably Come On Over.
It was probably that big debut album that she had.
Come on over. I think Dink is right.
I think it was the second one. Come On Over.
Second one. Okay.
Still the one. And
all right. So number 8, Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, 20.5 million.
Yes, that's the easy one. We should have had that. Yes.
Right.
Number 7, Garth Brooks Double Live at 21 million.
Oh, is he on
Wow.
twice? Is he on that list twice? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Number 6, this episode,
AC/DC.
Back in Black,
Back in
22
Black.
million.
Back in Black.
We said
Floyd.
Pink Floyd The Wall, number 5. 4 is Zeppelin 4, Joe's
Zeppelin.
favorite 1971 album, 23 million.
Yes.
And number 3, the one unnamed so far, is a fucking artist I can't stand.
Oh,
You can't stand.
Hmm.
Billy Joel? No.
Yes. Billy Joel, Greatest Hits,
Greatest
23
Hits,
million.
1 and 2? Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cheating. I
And
hate
then
those.
2 is Eagles and 1's Michael.
Well, that's why technically they don't count Greatest Hits for greatest albums ever sold.
And they shouldn't. Yeah.
And
It's
it's a
Billy
double.
Joel's asshole.
Yeah.
And go.
It is, and I've started to dislike Billy more knowing you, but I did really enjoy that 1 and 2 volumes 1 and 2. Like if you like Billy or BJ's in general,
I mean, I think
it's
it's
not-
everyone.
That's not the BJ I like.
I think everyone when they listen to Billy Joel was always the volume hits 1 and 2. That's what it was, and it was for everybody. It was great. Eagles' greatest hits. So
right.
So, I mean, with that being said, Postmaster Supreme, give us your real picks.
I have so many things to say, but I've forgotten most of them along the way. First, that's legit. First of all, I will say I also didn't listen past pretty much Razor's Edge. I like a bunch of stuff. I think that their most recent one, Power Up, is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Considering no Malcolm, right? But there's hit and miss on all those albums after that. So I don't love them, but I don't dislike them enough to ever sway myself from this band. That's the first thing I was going to say. Secondly, in my little intro that I have here in my notes, I'll try not to repeat myself because, but no promises. A lot of my notes that when I was just quickly, I do this, but I didn't do any writing. Jotting, thumb-wise, was like, great riff, love this song, cool intro. You know what I mean? And those are all the truth.
That's how all my notes start.
Right. That's how I basic riff, but Malcolm's wicked. Like, that's how I feel about all their songs. So,
yeah.
And I mean it about the song intros. I really feel that they are the band that says, here's the song.
Yep.
You'll love it. Like, and then the first 10 to 15, 20 seconds, and they have you, right? If you like their sound, you're like, oh no, another fucking beauty, right? Like, they're beautiful songs. The ravishing, if you will. Anyway, my number 4.
True to this.
Yes, I couldn't say it, so I wasn't going to. My number 4, I knew nobody was going to have, and that's why I gave Joe the wrong, the Stone Temple Pilots. It is from Flick of the Switch, and it is Guns for Hire. I fucking love this song. I know I've probably could make an edit at some point of me saying I fucking love this song. Like 10 different versions.
A supercut
with different shirts on. But I do. I love this song. I love the intro of this song. There's something about the Flick of the Switch album. I don't know if it was that so many people thought it was questionable, or it certainly wasn't the album art. I love this album. It's not tops, obviously. If I was to rate my albums, it's Back in Black and Highway to Hell are like, Highway to Hell's right there with Back in Black, pretty close. Back in Black is the front runner. Highway to Hell and Flick of the Switch is number 3. And most people would not have Flick of the Switch number 3. I think it's so. I've had this discussion with many buddies that love AC/DC. So underrated. So it was really cool, Jimmy, that you had that song. Like, I love Bedlam's from Belgium. I love Rising Power. I love the title track. But Guns for Hire, for me, I know it was a different one for you, is the winner on that album. And I think it's that didn't intro that I just love, right? I know
Wait,
that's
how did that go?
You'll watch it back and you'll be like, that's exactly how it sounds, actually. Dink's really good with his mouth.
I'm going to edit a 3-second loop of that.
Ding, 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 ding. And then it's basic ACDC.
Sorry, Dink's really good with his mouth. Can you say that?
I did say that. That didn't come off. That did not come off well. I think this song easily
Unlike
could have
my
been on
805 beer.
I know because those bitches won't send it to fucking Minnesota. God damn it.
I think this song easily, and I know there's an album in between with for those about to rock. I think this song could have been on Back in Black because it has a Back in Black kind of sound. Once you get past that
Ding, 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 ding.
yeah, once you get that yeah, that like it's very Back in Black, right?
I'm confused. I'm not getting it. Can you
I'm not doing it again because we got enough for the loop.
You just pantomime the entire song.
We got enough for the
Like a
loop.
dirt bike idling. Bing, 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 bing,
Well,
bing.
well, listen to the song, and you'll hear it. You'll be like, "Oh, it does sound like that." Ding.
Hey, listen, our tens of listeners are hitting the search a song in their Bixby right now. Can you play the AC/DC song that goes bing, 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 bing?
And then like 70 queue up. But yeah, no, I think there's something about this song. Brian's voice is excellent. The end of the first bridge and into the chorus, you get what you want. You are what you got. You get what you want. Look out, woman. I fucking love that. I got guns for hire. You know what I mean? So, and it's Malcolm, and then into the chorus, it's Malcolm and Cliff with the higher octave backing vocals that are so good. And for me, it's number 4, right? And you fuckers, when you go back and listen to that song, you're gonna be like, hey, it does kind of go ding, ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding. I will say this.
Like so Phil Rudd, right? Like anyway.
So
Fuck you guys.
Go fuck yourself.
I will say this. I think at the time in 1983, Flick and Switch suffered in the fact that the Back in Black and then For Those About to Rock were so gigantic, and they had those 2 giant tours, right? I think it just suffered from like, okay, we've had enough. I think that's why the album didn't sell. Because it's not a bad album at all. Like I said, there's no bad songs, and it's maybe not as memorable as the previous albums, but I think it suffered at the time, especially when it came out. The fact that the other 2 had been so big, people were kind of like, okay, I've had enough of them.
Well, and you're right, like 20 million, 7 million. Oh, this is like
1 million.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you guys giving us here? But for me, it was a listen, and we've talked about it in the show. We've talked about it off camera with many of their albums, but this was a front to back for me. Like Rise and Power, This House Is on Fire. There's so many great tracks that I love on this album, right? Because I gave it a full listen all the time. So anyway, Guns for Hire is always the same.
And Jimmy alluded to before. Now that I'm actually looking at all the album covers, it's one of my favorite album covers.
Yeah,
it's basic. It's a basic bitch for sure. It's like a stencil. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean the artwork. I mean, I have an art background. My kids are artists.
Right.
Looking at it, it actually is a very eloquent album. The art of it, it's the contours. It's realistic. It's a great artistic album cover.
Yeah, it is.
And even all their like Back in Black's as your shirt's pretty basic. For those about to rock with the Cannons, pretty basic. Like what do you want? Like, you know what I mean? And then Fly on the Wall is not basic with the eyeball or whatever, and then that album got shit on too. So like they couldn't really win, right? Like
Well, but I think a lot of album covers especially of that day, they kind of date themselves of that period.
Yeah.
And again, not to go on an art tangent, but Flick of the Switch
time capsule.
It ages very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my number 4. So that is my Brian. That is my only Brian. Sadly, in the top 4. My number 3 is from Highway to Hell, and thankfully it hasn't been said, but is Beating Around the Bush.
Ah, good song, dude.
Love the
Yes.
riff again with the repeating. I love the intro. Bond sounds so crisp, if that makes any sense, in this song. And it's 25 seconds before Bond even starts singing. Because again, and I'm not going to mimic the guitar, but it's like, you know,
What you
there's
just did.
no ding, 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 ding.
Well, okay. Mentioning the guitar, this is one of those songs that doesn't have that just 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 power chord or straightforward progressions. There's a lot of movement on this guitar, which is kind of odd for AC/DC. I mean, there's a lot of movement on it.
Totally.
Yep.
This song is great. Crank. This is they all are, right? But this song, I don't like to listen to this song soft, and I think it's that intro, and maybe it's that movement on the guitar, right? Like I think this is again, and they have a bunch of them. Great driving song, right? Like if I hear this in the car, I'm cranking it up, and and gotta watch my foot, right? My cankles get a little heavy on the pedal.
I would really like to hear Taylor's version of this, though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, she'd probably kill it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be real. Let's be real. She would. But yeah, so that's number 3 from Highway to Hell. Number 2 is also from Highway to Hell. And like I said, that's why I have Highway to Hell as number 2, close with Back in Black. Because I think Back in Black is their masterpiece front to back, as much as I really don't care to hear Shook Me All Night Long, maybe ever again. And Hell's Bells and Back in Black I love. But again, it's for me, it's the deeper cuts. It's the Giving the Dog a Bone. It's the Shoot to Thrill. It's the Have a Drink on Me. It's the Shake a Leg.
Let me put my love into you, baby.
Let me put my love into you. Yeah, what do you want? What do you do for money?
Yeah.
Like it's those tracks, right?
Yeah.
But this is Shot Down in Flames.
I had that just barely making my list.
And
it was
again,
right there.
It's the intro, right? It's that whoa, like it's just, I fucking love that. And I don't know, it's I think it's Malcolm again. Like I think he probably put that together and said, "All right, brother, you do this."
Right.
And then we'll come in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just for me, the song smells as the song lays out. Maybe not that intro, but it just kind of smells. That's why I have my note. Smells of Malcolm.
Right. Well, I'm going to give you my best dink retort. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't quite make my list. It was number 74 on my list, but it's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for you.
No, that song, it's as soon as you hear it or even visualize it, you see excuse me, Angus or what did you call him? Agnes Young. Agnes Young. You see
Agnes.
You can see Agnes Young doing it, playing that. As soon as that's that, yeah.
That's why I think it probably I could almost see that conversation with, "Hey brother, you do your thing."
Yeah.
And then we'll come in with 1, 2, and we'll come in with the rest of the band, right? Like,
yeah,
totally,
yep,
totally. Yeah, that's really all I have in my notes. I do have. I loved Bond's vocal on "Shame," like "Ain't it a shame," like just the way he says it. But yeah, it's my second favorite song from the band. Yeah, and my first favorite song, and I've referenced this in every fucking episode, and I'm sorry that I do, but it just keeps happening. So this song, and largely because they are my favorite band of all time, is also on the top 20 Dink's favorite tracks of all time. This sits number 10. So we have hit,
Oh.
I think we have hit 17 in how many episodes have we done? 17. We've hit 17 of Dink's 20 favorite
I
songs.
can't wait for 19.
And and we haven't maybe talked about certain bands or artists, but the songs have come up within conversations where this is a blatant sits number 10. This is my number one favorite AC/DC song. It's already been mentioned in an honorable mention, but it's Squealer. I fucking love Squealer. And Squealer is it's not a basic bitch as far as the pick,
No,
but it is a basic fucking song. You know what I mean? Like it's a wicked song, right? Like the vocals are cool. It's kind of like that slow melodic.
Well, and it starts low, and then it builds, and everything gets a little bit louder, and it's one of those.
Like, and it's cool. But then there's like a fucking long outro where they say Squealer, and I wrote it down today because I was like, there's a 2 minute and 35-second musical play out at the end of the song, which is kind of an Angus solo per se, but it's the whole band's playing. They say Squealer 20 times. So if you didn't know the title, if you didn't catch the title the first 8 times in the first minute and a half, with the last 2.5 minutes, they say it 20 times. And
Frank, I'm unclear. What's the name of the song?
Is he squealing or something? Yeah. And I didn't realize that until I really, because I love the song, right? And I probably did know that, but I was like, wow, they do say it a lot. So I better write these down because that's a funny little note. But yeah, no, I fucking love this track. I've always loved this track. I love Dirty Deeds.
Dirty Deeds.
And this is the gem on it. And there's so many gems. And I'm so glad that a few of them, like Love at First Feel, came up. That was cool. I love Rocker. I love this fucking band. Like when someone would say such and such song, I'm like, oh, that's a great song off side 2 of Those About to Rock. You know what I mean? So that's when you know you love a band, when someone names a song and you know exactly the album it is, and on the side it's on, or the track it's on the side.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And that you can hear it in your head.
And you can hear it in your head.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a huge definition. Like Shot Down in Flames. You mentioned Stevie Wonder on the opening track for side 2. Shot Down in Flames is the opening track on side 2 of Highway to Hell. That'd be my top 5.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm glad you mentioned Dirty Deeds because that was my intro to the band. My brother, John, hey John, I love you. He introduced so much fucking music into my life at that particular time.
Right.
And Dirty Deeds was on seemingly 24/7 on the record player. If my mom didn't throw it across the room and put her album on, it was on all the time. So I also promised my brother that I was going to mention him and this particular album because it's a heartfelt album for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. If you didn't, you'd be a real problem child for sure.
Right.
All right, so that brings me to an honorable mention. So we've had three Bon and 1 Brian, and I think I said in pre-production without telling you guys the songs, I wanted to even it up. So I do have 2 honorable mentions, and they're both Brian. So each singer gets 3 songs, but they're legit. It's my legit list in the top 6, and it just worked out that Bon was because I don't even know who I like. If I had to choose, I think I might choose Bon. I couldn't either. But I think I probably would choose Bon because, Brian's got more stuff.
Bigger catalog,
Bigger catalog, but there's probably some of those albums with those more recent albums that we've mentioned are lesser. There's no lessers in the Bon, and maybe he just didn't live long enough to give us lessers. Every fucking track on every one of the Bon albums to me is awesome, and maybe that's why he gets the top 3. And if I had to choose, I would pick him. But I do love Brian too, right? So
I would just say maybe Brian needs to talk to Gary Sharon about
No, don't let him do it.
Gary, I love you.
We don't need AC/DC 3.
You're very nice to me and my wife. You're a very great guy. You still sing your ass off, but
but don't ever talk to Brian.
Don't talk to Brian.
So anyway, my honorable mentions are my number 5 is already been mentioned as well. So I'm glad you got it in, Joe. But it's Rock and Rolling Noise Pollution.
Love that song.
Yeah, it's just a great track, right? I think you covered pretty much everything there is. The sentiment of the song, of sitting around on stools, and the buildup of the song.
Yep.
I haven't done this in a while, but I have a strong memory associated with this song, and it kind of ties into some of our other stuff. So Fall Fairs, Carnies, the whole nine, right? So this was grade 8. So this was Fall Fair 86. And I was on a ride with a buddy, Derek Curry, and I think he's a watcher, so this works out perfect.
He's a watcher.
He's a watcher. He's a lurker. No, he's a watcher of us. He's a music fan, right? He's actually the one. He's the one that chimed in that said on YouTube about Chris Cornell when we did the solo.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
I responded to him, yeah.
I brought this memory up to him like a year or two ago on Facebook, and he didn't remember. And I was kind of like, oh, fuck, man. So obviously it held a bigger place with me than it did with him. But whatever. We were on the Zipper, and, the Zipper was a fully caged in, and it was the carny would spin you, and then the whole ride was a bunch of those caged in things, and the whole thing spun. You guys know the ride I'm talking about?
Yeah. No?
Yeah. Okay.
We'll go on it.
So we got to the top of the Zipper, and sometimes it paused, and you're two guys in it, and you're sitting in a thing, and you're caged in, you're holding it. But we were looking at another cage, right? Just the way it stopped, and the fucking thing broke down. Or we were up there for the entire song, Rock and Rolling Noise Pollution. I'm like, this can't be right. Like, at first we were like rocking. I'm like, this is awesome. In fact, he was rocking a little more than I liked. I'm like, all right, enough, man. Because he was trying to flip it, right? And we're in the fucking top. And we were talking to people across was 2 chicks. And then I'm like, something's wrong, man. We've been stuck up here for like 3.5 minutes. Like, this is fucked up. But every time I hear that song, I think of him and I just, doing our thing, rocking up there, right? It's a very strong memory. And when I told him, he's like, oh yeah, like, I don't really remember that. I'm like, oh, thanks, man.
It's like talking to Joe about memories.
No, I was gonna say, I'm jealous of your memory, man, because I don't remember shit. And you guys have witnessed this before. Jimmy, like, oh, Joe, you remember this one thing? I'm like, no. And he'll start explaining, like, oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't have a photographic memory like you do, man. You have great.
No, I don't know what it was. It stuck out, and then, like I said, for years to come, every time I thought of that or heard that song, I would think of him. And in fact, when we got off the ride, I said to the car, I said, "What was that all about?" He goes, "Oh no, we had a little malfunction down here."
Snafu,
you dirty bastards!
Sorry, it's like about 36 hours, but
let's get some onion rings, man. Like, anyway, let's go get some roach clip feathers. Anyway, so that's number 5. Number 6 is maybe the most recent song, but it is the title track. Oh no, Joe, you did a song off Razor's Edge too. It's the title track from Razor's Edge. I love this song. It's just unique. It does not sound like an AC/DC song. Even when it came out, I was like, the rest of the album is just kind of really good AC/DC.
Yeah.
More for 1990. It was almost more modern AC/DC. Thunderstruck's a little bit different, but in the end, they all kind of started to sound like AC/DC. I thought the title track was different, right? I was like, this is weird. And my one buddy said, it almost sounds like Metallica. I'm like, well, that's maybe a little too far, but it does not sound totally like parts of it do, but other parts of it don't sound like AC/DC. There's a darkness to it. There's a different style of guitaring. I don't even know how to describe it, right?
No, I agree, and that's why it's ironically my number 6 as well, because it just stands out from that.
Oh, was it that track? I thought you meant Money Talks, or it was both of them. No, and like I said, along with Memories, like Chris and I talked about it in the opening track, with Thunderstruck being a huge warm-up song, and it was this album, right? So every once in a while, this title track would get some play during the warm-up as well, which was nice, right? So it wasn't somebody just letting the album play. Yeah. It's somebody that had recorded, because it was, even though it was early CDs, somebody had made a tape with the Thunderstruck probably a couple of times, and then maybe the title track. Because I remember stopping pucks and warm up and like, oh, good, something else, right? Because you almost borderline got sick of Thunderstruck after a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, there's just something about this title track that I love. So it sits at number 6, and that's saying a lot because some of the songs you mentioned, let's get it up and shoot to thrill are right close to that on my list, and then some obscure Brian songs, probably from Flick of the Switch,
Mhm.
Inject the Venom, like some of those songs from
Yeah.
earlier albums are on my list, right? Where other people are like, well, where's Hell's Bell? Well, it's there. It's just down further.
Yeah, it's
So is
there.
TNT and all that
Yeah.
other shit, right?
It's still on the list. It's just, not at the forefront.
Yeah, and if you love an artist,
Yeah.
this with Alice in Chains or whoever, it's there. Yeah, you can still love the big hits like everybody does, but some of the deeper cuts or some of the more that AC/DC, if they weren't fans, they wouldn't know
Right.
like
Yeah.
fucking any cuts from Flick of the Switch. There was other than the title track, they wouldn't know any of those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you talking about that. I do, if you noticed, I do like some of the obscure stuff, the obscure albums. That's why I feel that I need to go to Flick of the Switch and Fly in the Wall.
Yep.
And for those about to rock, those kind of
Those
albums. So
albums, right? They don't get the love they really deserve, right? Like I
deserve,
know
yeah.
Bond's albums
There
get a lot of love, right? But
there is one song that I want to mention. I mean, I love the song, but I want to mention the video. Let There Be Rock. Have you guys ever seen the video
Yeah.
where he's a preacher in the pulpit
Yeah.
and Angus is not a school dress thing.
right.
He's
Yeah.
an actual like angel and his halo is bouncing on his head the whole time
Yep.
he's playing. That video is hilarious, and Bon Scott being so stone faced during the delivery of his of his verses, it's awesome. If you guys, I'll put a link. I don't know if you guys notice every once in a while. I'll put a link in the comment section of our episodes. I'll put a link to that because there's just something about it that's just it's childish, it's goofy, but it's also kind of a little profound.
Again, kind of like how this episode started with, about a band who doesn't take themselves too seriously. Obviously, they're serious because they're professional musicians, but they don't take
Right.
them so seriously. I mean, because you can see them when they're doing their videos, their photo shoots, their album covers, they're laughing. They're not, especially Bon Scott. He was always the jokester of the bunch, and it's that. So playing his part he did in that video is kind of ironic, actually, because it was playing anti. He normally does everything else.
I'm very drawn to that kind of band that, like Rush, they don't really take themselves serious. I mean, on the surface, it looks like they do, but they really don't. They're just nerdy dorks. Killer Dwarfs is another one.
I was
I mean,
going to say you mentioned them in one show, yeah.
a lot of the bands that I like it when a band doesn't take themselves personally serious, but the music is serious.
the music is serious, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As the host, I'm going to name a couple that didn't get mentioned either that I just looked at my list. Can I Sit Next to You, Girl is
Sure.
pretty high on my list. As is Hell or High Water. And I think I mentioned it in my intro. From Fly on the Wall. You're right. Fly on the Wall doesn't get the love it deserves, right? So every other song on my list, we covered. Right, they're all up there, right? And then you get into the more obscure track. Oh, and Get It Hot, which is another Highway to Hell track, right? Because that album just it's like Back in Black. There's just so many deep cuts that are good. Anyway, I don't know if you got anything more to say on AC/DC, guys. I think we've covered pretty much all there is, right? Like
all there is, yes.
Yeah, there's one of those bands that are so big. There's a small fraction of the younger population kind of finding rock music now. It's like, listen to AC/DC. It's got a lot to offer. And again, like Jimmy said, they're the only probably band in existence that never changed their sound ever.
No. And they get kudos from every other band. In fact, I just saw some, you guys have probably seen it, and it was on a reel. And I don't know if it was Sammy talking to Bret Michaels or if it was Rick Beato or who you were talking about earlier. It was somebody talking to Bret Michaels and said, if you had to pick one, and it's Bret Michaels, so who gives a shit really? But I've seen this with many other artists. If you had to pick one rock band that stands alone as the truest rock band or and he's like AC/DC. Like I've seen so many artists that have said that are in the field, right? That are competing bands. AC/DC's the band to beat. AC/DC's the shit, right? Like,
I mean,
anyway.
Well, you know, well, you just said something that kind of struck a chord with me. Bret Michaels does a shit ton for up and coming acts and music, and he's constantly showing and talking and praising the arts. And so, I mean, I don't know if I agree with who gives a shit. Bret Michaels, like
Well, no,
he
I'm
does
just saying, like,
Oh, okay. He does a shit ton for
doesn't give a
people.
shit.
I mean, yes, he's the singer of Poison,
Right.
but I mean, there's a story that he wrote a country album to go on to the country circuit just because he saw a young, starving country artist who had potential. He wrote an album so he could do the country circuit to bring this struggling artist on tour to give him the chops. And it turns out the kid was a wonder man. I mean, I don't know who the artist was. Forgive me, but
Right.
the
And
story.
that's the kind of stuff. Any of those artists that are doing that to help other artists, that's the stuff that should be out there, right?
Yeah.
And I only said who gives a shit because
No.
anyone that didn't give a shit or that was a so fan of, say, Poison would be like, who cares what Bret Michaels
No,
thinks?
I didn't take it wrong. I used it as a
You know what I
segue,
mean?
man. Being honest.
No, perfect. No, because I love that shit. I love to hear artists helping other artists. That's the way it should be, right?
Absolutely.
And like I said, my point was I love to hear other artists praise the ones that should be praised, right? The ones that came before them, the ones
The helping hand, yeah.
They still look up to. They're not Oasis, who already thinks they're better than they are. Fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, just my opinion about Oasis. Fuck off.
Well,
Anyway, on that note.
Sorry, I was being the timekeeper there.
On that note, let's wrap it up. We are Just Rank Pod. If you've forgotten in amongst our AC/DC talk who we are, us four gentlemen, we will be with you every week. You can find us at justrankpod.com for all of our links to YouTube, audio streams, all our socials. This was a fun episode, guys. I
really wanted.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
I hope we didn't go too long. If we do, we'll just edit out Joe.
It's always me. And you're not wrong.
Hey, you're in charge.
You're gonna edit out the guy who does the editing.
Yeah, the guy that does the editing is in control.
You know, the show is much better without me.
No, this show would be nothing.
Oh my god.
On that note, we'll see you next week. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.